Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane Call of Duty Burnt Spawn. This is the third Call of Duty Spawn figure McFarlane has made, and this looks to be the coolest. I found this guy at Target today, so let's take a look at the packaging. On the top, McFarlane Toys, Spawn, ages 14 plus, Call of Duty. Here he is in the package, got a bunch of guns and a cloth soft goods cape. On the back, here's the figure in the battlefield. And at the bottom, there's the barcode if it helps. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright. Now that we've got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have a display stand, a collector's card, and 3 guns. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out this figure. So this is Spawn. We all know Spawn, McFarlane's bread and butter. Al Simmons, he was murdered and betrayed, made a deal with the devil, and came back as a Hellspawn. Not only that, but this one is from Call of Duty. It's a playable character in the game. This is the third Call of Duty Spawn they've made. This is the Burnt Spawn. So let's take a closer look. So, let's start with his head. His head looks pretty cool. That Burnt Spawn. But Spawn pretty much always has a sort of weird burnt look to him. He's got a cloth soft goods hood and cape. The hood has no bendy wire here, which it does suffer for. But it actually sits pretty good. I mean, you gotta kind of adjust it a little bit. You can pull that down and see all the details on him. Green around the eyes, no nose, teeth exposed, burnt flesh. Then he has this little sort of clasp with a chain across. Now, looking at his vest. Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of ammunition. Look at that thing. He's got a bandolier and tons of clips. Same Spawn logo on the belt, chains. Got little sort of spikes on his knuckles, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. I'm not sure what these things are on the side. Now this really pisses me off. He has a holster and no sidearm put inside of there. That is ridiculous. I mean, I've got plenty of extra guns I can give him, but I shouldn't have to give him that. I'd rather him not have a holster than an empty one. And then the cape. What the hell is this thing? It's like a little shawl or something? I mean, it just goes around the top, and that's fine. But it, like, you can sort of, like, go in the middle of it. It almost feels like, should this whole thing be on top of him? Should his arm be through here? I don't know. I mean, this is how it was in the package. It just feels weird. Like this one, the sort of slot here is on the top. And then on this side, the little sort of slot thing there is on the bottom. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that thing. McFarlane, for a company that loves to draw fantastic capes and can sometimes give us amazing capes with wires for the figures. They've made a lot of disappointing capes lately. I don't even know what the hell this thing is supposed to be. It really feels like he should sort of be like inside of this, but he's not. I don't know. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt, and the sculpt is fantastic. Very well done, and the paint job matches pretty nicely. And then here, with the hood up. And like I said, the hood does suffer by not having a bendy wire in the sort of frame. It sits okay, but it's honestly way too big. It should be closer to his head. And if you had that wire, you could probably shape it a lot better instead of just trying to get lucky. Like, I mean, that already looks a little bit better, but it's not exactly going to stay that way like it would with a wire. And then, here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane display stand we've seen countless times before. And then we have his collector's card. As you can see, Call of Duty, Spawn. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. And then we have his cape, or cloak, or shawl, or whatever exactly it is. So we have a cloth soft goods hood at the top. It's got this plastic sort of clasps here with a chain across. And then you can stick his head through the little hole there and put this over his shoulders. It's a little bit sort of dirty looking. It's been through some action. It's not just like bright red. It's a nice little touch. But it's so weird the way it's designed. It almost feels like his arm should sort of like be inside of here, but it just doesn't work that way. It has a sort of double layer. I don't know. Here's Spawn without his cape, and he actually looks pretty cool this way as well. And then with this cape type thing attached, which I find pretty disappointing. And I remember the previous wave of Call of Duty Spawn figures also had pretty crappy cape. And then we have his weapons. He has 3 different guns, and I believe they're all reused from the McFarlane accessory packs. So first we have this large sort of automatic weapon. I think this is made up for the Spawn universe. The sculpt is actually pretty nice. It's pretty big. You can see where he's going to hold it. The clip. And notice the colors are red and silver. And then we have a grenade launcher here. Got this sort of drum full of grenades. Trigger, extra handles to support it. Good sculpt on the barrel. And an assault rifle. A regular looking assault rifle. Perfect for a Call of Duty figure. Here's Spawn holding onto that first gun. He's got one hand in the trigger, another one supporting the barrel, and one really crappy thing. As soon as I put this in his hand, it broke the little sort of trigger area because his trigger finger is not far enough apart and very easily done. And then holding the assault rifle and is trying so hard to break that little piece off as well. Hand is just not well done for the purpose. And then here, holding onto that grenade launcher, one hand on the trigger, another one supporting it. And if you wanted to, he can hold 2 guns at the same time. His left hand is not a traditional gripping hand, but it works. You can fit a sidearm for the McFarlane accessory pack number 1 into the holster on his leg. And then here, holding on to that same pistol. And I don't see any reuse with this Call of Duty Spawn in the previous versions. The legs are different because this guy's pants on. The torso is different. He has that big giant vest. I do believe the arms are the same. So now let's go and take a look at his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.2 inches tall, which would translate to about 18 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head. Of course, you're going to rotate side to side. He can look up a little bit, not much, down quite a bit more. You can tilt his head at least a little bit from side to side. I'm sure you can hear that squeaking. Neck is very tight. Shoulders and a ball joint goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got this butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area. Increase the range of motion and covering the gap that would be there. Bicep cut. Double jointed elbows. His wrists can rotate, and it's hinged as well. Torso seems to be one solid piece. I don't believe there's any articulation under there, but even if there is, it would be pretty much useless. Ball joint in the waist. Rotate around. Forward and back, barely at all. Legs, they go out about this far. This side seems to be obstructed by the sort of gear, little pouches, ammo, whatever on the side there. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation's non-existent. Legs go forward, not very much. Back, not at all. Double jointed knees, and then the ankle, forward and back. Rotation. A little bit of tilt rock, and toe articulation. Here's a look at this Call of Duty Spawn figure in front of a burnt, rubbled building. Now let's check him out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Spawn figures. Here he is, next to the previous Call of Duty Spawn figures. On the left, we have Tactical Spawn. On the right, just regular Call of Duty Spawn. In the middle, Burnt Spawn. Now they're all cool, but just something sort of lacking. This one, honestly, I like the figure quite a bit. The shawl thing, I find kind of disappointing, but I mean, it looks good, it looks appropriate. And Spawn on the far right, I like the way it looks. Maybe it's a little bit too small or thin, but the cape is just disappointing. There's no wire in the collar, and the cape itself is just small and dinky. It had such potential too. Now let's check him out next to some of my favorite Spawn figures. Here he is next to the Mortal Kombat 11 regular Spawn and Shadow of Spawn figures. And here he is next to the Batman vs. Spawn and the Spawn that came with a throne. Then next to both the regular and medieval Kickstarter Spawn figures. Now let's check him out next to some of the most recently released Spawn figures. Here he is next to the most recent wave. These are all red platinums. We have the sketch version of the Deviant Spawn, and then the blue and black versions of the 77 Spawn, Here's the Spawn, next to a couple of Blood Axe figures. And finally, next to the previous assortment of Spawn figures, both the regular and Plan of Chase variants of the Deviant Spawn from Rat City, and the Robot Wars Spawn. Now let's check them out, next to some other Call of Duty figures. Here are all 3 Call of Duty Spawn figures. We have the regular Call of Duty Spawn, Burnt Call of Duty Spawn, and Tactical Call of Duty Spawn. And here he is, next to a bunch of older McFarlane Call of Duty figures. These were from before McFarlane was making 7-inch figures. These are 6-inch scale. Unfortunately, they don't fit in with the Call of Duty Spawn figures at all. Spawn is far too big next to them. And here, with a couple of Jazzwares Call of Duty figures. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise. In case you want to know which lines you can mix him with, since he's a McFarlane toy, they are typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and then work my way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figures, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale, and now with some Jack-specific wrestling figures and Diamond Select toys. Here's Spawn, next to a scented candle, and here he is with some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures, and now with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends, and finally, with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a pretty cool Call of Duty Burnt Spawn figure. I think the head sculpt is great. He has that burnt look. The sculpt, the paint job are excellent. I actually like all the sort of gear he has on. The huge vest full of different clips. It does limit his articulation, but it looks pretty damn cool. Now his little sort of shawl or cloak or whatever thing, it's okay. I mean, it matches like the Call of Duty Ghost figure, which I think is what they're going for. But the hood really needs a bendy wire in it. That would have taken it to another level and made it a very nice piece. As is, the hood is just sort of limp and it looks too big, and you can kind of do what you want, but you can't really get it to stay that way. His accessories are pretty good. He has 3 guns, but I cannot believe they didn't give him the sidearm to go into his holster, which I believe is the same type of sidearm that came with the Tactical Call of Duty Spawn. If I were to rate this figure, probably give him a 6 out of 10, and I want to give him a higher rating. I like him, he looks cool. His articulation is quite limited in almost all aspects. The torso, the hips, etc. The hood needs a bendy wire. He really needs a sidearm for that holster. And the whole shawl thing is a little bit confusing. It almost feels like his arms should go inside, but they don't. I don't know, it's just a little weird. As a whole, I think the figure had a lot of potential, but it fell short. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.